Go over meeting law, get more open than that. Roll call.
Stand by.
Roll call. Al Borey.
Here.
Cal.
Here.
John Mitchell.
Here.
Lou Radecki here. Frank Souter.
Here. Okay, we've got a quorum. Let's do the pledge.
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Dude, that's a problem. We're not under God.
We are if we want to be.
I should. Okay, gentlemen, you have received the minutes. Have you had an opportunity to review them?
Yeah, I have. With the exception of some typos, I make a motion to accept them.
Okay, we have a motion to accept.
I'll second it.
Second, Cal. All in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
I have to abstain because I wasn't here.
Okay, we have an abstention. Duly noted. Correspondence, anything, Jeff? Anything that comes to the airport that you picked up at the PO box that we need to be aware of? or-
Oh,
No. Okay.
nothing.
We'll go. Skip.
I got a question. So we only get, for the airport, we get mail at one spot, and that is the PO box, is that correct?
That's correct. Reports, I think we'll bypass reports and take it up under operations. Is there anything that you want to bring up, Jeff, that you need to be aware of, or things coming up?
No, I mean, nothing, I mean, other than we're gonna be getting ready for winter pretty soon, grass cutting and stuff like that.
Pretty much.
Did you wanna talk about, the hangar project, is a separate action?
Yeah, that's a separate issue, so we'll get down to that. Airport clubs.
Hold on, I got a question. When do we do the budget for the airport? That's part of the operations or what? Financial, I don't know, but
That's probably in the next month or two is getting that, I have not started on that yet.
Is that a public, something we can come to? Is it posted?
Yeah, we'll probably do it during the regular meeting.
Okay.
We'll probably have a meeting, I'm thinking we're gonna need to have at least one more this year. We'll probably go late November.
Okay.
You know, just stay away from the Christmas season for everybody and that. Airport clubs, you got anything that you wanna say about the flying club?
Or you wanna, for me, I don't think we have anything exciting going on.
We do have scholarships going right now. We just did one last month, and we just have an application that's coming in again this, tomorrow. So it's starting to move forward where we can help kids out, get them started in flying. And they're coming out of Hamar here, which is unusual.
Thank you.
So yeah, I guess our newest candidate was a young lady that got a pilot's license or is working on it, and working with Steve Sorge, and so she got a $1,000 scholarship
Okay,
for her expenses for learning to fly.
excellent. Anything else under clubs?
Is there anybody here that is a member of the Flying Hawks at all, or a board member? Okay, I am a member of the Flying Hawks. I did not talk to the president, but just to let you know, the airplane that crashed
Yeah,
It's still in the hangar over there.
okay.
And I do not know at this point what they're gonna do about it, but that's where it's at right now.
Are we getting a replacement yet?
Don't know.
Insurance or anything paid off, or?
No, I don't know any of that yet, so.
You don't know what engine that had, do you?
Pardon me?
What engine, how many horsepower?
Oh, it's Cardinal 177, so it was a better than a 172.
It was a 180 horse.
Yes, that's correct, yeah. That's it for the flying ones.
Okay, financials.
So what I'll do is I'll just go over the checks that were written since August 7th, which was the last meeting. So we had a gas bill, or electric bill, $88. I'm gonna round it to the nearest dollar. Electric bill, 88. The T-hanger, or the gas bill here was 88. The electric bill at the T-hanger was 68. I take that back. Those two numbers prior were electric bills for the T-hanger. And our gas bill here was $10. We use no gas, natural gas. Maintenance, $5.80 for fixing the woods mower, a drive shaft. Bought a carbon monoxide detector for $36. We filled up our diesel fuel tank for $7.60. We had some legal consultation for $157.50. And that's it. So a total of about $1,710 in checks that were written out.
What was the what's the legal consultation for?
It was regarding the signing of, it was reviewing the contract regarding the six-place hangar.
I'm sorry, what?
The six-place hangar.
The hangar, I had called our attorney and asked him to just review the contract, make sure it was okay to sign it.
I can't hear a thing because it's too loud at that.
Of course, it'll be gone, sure.
I have a question for Jeff.
Not anymore.
I have a question for Jeff. Did you ever, is this electric or the electric, remember you had this meter or something you were gonna figure out to see how it was divided between the town, and did that ever get handled?
Yeah, I have a rough, I don't know if we want to bring that up as a second, or
I'll probably bring that up at the manager section. You can go over that.
Got it,
It
got
makes
it.
more sense to go to that section.
And as far as collecting hangar rents and hangar leases, we've got about 72% of the people have paid up. So I'm expecting another $6,800 in revenue from hangar leases, or land leases, I should say, and hangar rents. And then, so we're pretty good on track. We've got a couple of months left. And so that's the income for the airport. That should be about it. We won't have any major expenses for the rest of the year. I mean, we're gonna be converting over to winter pretty soon, cleaning up the mowers and stuff, putting on the plows and things like that.
When their payments are late, is there a charge, an interest for being late?
For being late for what?
Their payment when they're due?
Oh, for the people. We want the payments to come in before the end of November.
That's not my question.
Is there a late fee?
Is there a late fee or an interest when they pay late?
We haven't had to do that.
Well, maybe you should.
No, we don't have one,
There's no way you
but
can,
we haven't had an issue.
you probably should have a policy then.
Not paying anything. Anybody want to make a motion to accept the financial report?
Yeah, I'll make a motion to accept the financial report.
Second?
I'll second.
Okay, we got a motion and a second to approve the financial report. All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. Okay, now we're under management. So we can discuss the electric situation.
So I kind of did some rough adding up what we've used here in the last year. And so it's about $80, $83 a month over the course of the year. So it comes about $1,000 a year is what the electric is for this building.
Now, does that include the runway lights?
No, the runway lights are paid for by the flying club.
Delaware Flying Club still paying the runway lights? I was wondering about that. Yes?
Yeah, I was wondering about that meter that was put in, it was talked about, I think, at the last, one of the town meetings. Are you using that, or have you figured out on
Yes.
that what?
Yes,
Okay.
Yeah, that's what he was just
that's what, you know,
talking about.
right.
Oh, I thought you just took like an average of last year's or something.
Oh, no, the meter shows me month
Okay,
by month
okay.
what's being used.
Right.
And so I went back to January, and I've got the individual months of kilowatt hours, and I did the math.
Okay.
Okay. It's about $1,000.
$1,000 a year.
Any other questions on that?
Yeah. When, you said you have the budget meeting when? During the next upcoming meeting?
Yes, I think. we'll
Okay.
have-
And then, does anybody know about that camera pointed at the town hall? Where did that come from?
The what?
A camera,
Camera pointed up to town hall.
It's not pointing at the town hall, it's
or
it's
point,
pointing at the entrance to the airport.
oh, and who put that up and why?
I put it up. As general surveillance on what's going on at the airport, to make sure that we don't have any, you know, if there's something going on, that we can look at it. I mean,
Okay.
generally, it's
Is
not.
there other cameras in this building?
In this building? Yes.
Okay, I'm gonna make a comment to that. Yesterday, I learned from the Wisconsin Towns Association, this is a public building, it's just like the township. You're gonna have to, the board's gonna have to make an ordinance or resolution adopting videos, even though you might not, it's probably on here, or we're probably on video here. State statutes say we have to make a resolution or ordinance, and minimum required 120 days to retain documents up to 7 years. I've already told Michelle about that, I learned it yesterday, some people had some problems in other jurisdictions, that's how it was brought up at the meeting. So, that footage has to be kept for whatever the board decides on at the next meeting, that should be put on the agenda to discuss that. Just let you know.
It's by the town board, correct?
We have to make a separate resolution or ordinance at the town board, and the Palmyra Airport Commission will have to make their own ordinance on how long you want to retain it, but it's got to be available to the public. And that I got from the head attorney, well, the attorneys at the program.
Are they running now, Jeff?
Yes.
Okay, we better shut them down until we get approval. Get the ordinance ready.
So there's when you enter the building, I mean, I have it, I guess, is it any different than those cameras?
That's a,
Yes,
this,
yes.
if you're talking about her or Jim,
These are private,
right.
these are not public.
Right, and by law, you have to permit any person in a public meeting the ability to record a meeting. That's
It's a state law.
Yesterday, yes, state law, yeah.
Did they say anything about having to post that there's videotaping ongoing relative to what's in the building?
Surveillance.
Well,
The signs.
anything, I did
Yeah, there's a sign
mention,
right
you
outside
know,
the door when you came in.
Oh, yeah, I didn't see it.
somebody else asked a question, their town hall is under surveillance all the time. outside and inside. That falls under the criteria.
I would think that'd be a pretty good deterrent, hopefully, for someone who might want to break in if they see that sign.
Right, I mean, we've had issues in the flying club where people are stealing stuff. And,
But that's.
I didn't say there was anything bad about it, I just told you what I learned yesterday, and stay in compliance.
so to stay in compliance, we need to keep it,
Need to get an ordinance.
Need to pass an
A
ordinance that,
resolution or an ordinance.
Yeah, the town board has to pass an ordinance, or a resolution, then we have to adopt it.
You can make your own.
And then we'll have to keep records or the recording for whatever they decide we gotta keep it for. But I agree, you know, it is a handy situation if we're looking at the airport entrance here. Because we've got people going down there that aren't supposed to be there, and there's damage. You at least got something for the cops to say, you know.
yeah,
Well, this car
absolutely.
didn't belong there, you know. But I can understand where he's coming from, and I guess I'm glad Frank found that out, because we'll have to comply with that.
It probably falls under that whole transparency issue for government.
Pardon?
It probably falls under the whole transparency issue for
It
government.
probably does.
Yeah.
Something I guess I never really
Yeah.
gave much thought, you know.
And I was only questioning what it was for. I wasn't saying it was a bad thing.
Well, now you opened a can of worms.
Well, I did a good thing though. It's a good can of worms.
I don't think anyone says it's a bad thing, but that was brought up and clicked, I just heard this yesterday. So.
I still have a question regarding that. Recording meetings is one thing, but having a security camera for protection from theft and so on, I think those are two different things. I think we need to check into that. Well, I'd ask that question. Because you can have a security camera, you don't have to make that public to the world.
What we want to do, Jim, is stay on track and just.
I understand.
Next.
Yeah, the more you about topic here, we should be,
Well, part of it was fine, but.
Yeah.
All right then. Public comment, I guess we kind of already had that, but if anybody's got anything else they want to say?
My only comment is I remember hearing something at a prior meeting, and you were talking about the actual leases or contracts or agreements, whatever, and I thought that something was said that you wanted to be sure that everybody saw what that agreement or that lease said, and it should be circulated to the members on the commission. My question is, has that been done?
It has not, but I think you went and pulled the leases today, didn't you?
right, what we're trying to determine is what is the latest.
The latest lease.
Lease that was created, because the prior commission was working on some leases, and there seems to be, I don't know, a disconnect where we're not sure that we have what was worked on prior. And,
I'll address that. One, I'm not sure it's on the agenda, so we need to,
No,
will you
we
check
gotta-
that and be sure we're covered?
Right.
Well, is this public comment?
Well, I know we're transitioning into something
Right.
else here, which is far beyond.
We're
public
starting to have a
comment.
discussion about the whole
About
thing. Now, Jeff
policy.
can have a discussion with John, or
Jim.
Jim, or, sorry, Jim, Donna, or Terry.
Mine is a question for the committee. Did you get a copy of what it should say? Or if it's
I
not,
have a copy in my briefcase.
is it dated?
What would you like?
Are these leases, if they're dated, it's in effect? If it's not dated, it's no lease.
They are dated.
Okay, then that agreement,
And I submitted one from another hangar owner to Jeff some time ago in the mailbox that was dated and signed, which was the latest lease.
okay,
So I have the lease, and it should also be in Jeff's office, the one that was signed and adopted
okay.
by the commission.
And I thought that was what you were gonna all look at and decide if you needed changes or improvements or whatever.
Really looking around, at that point, we were looking at the T hangar leases, which we had erroneously thought that we had covered a couple of years ago. We had not. I can find no record of it, no one else can. So all I have are some of our notes on that. Our intention at that point was to make changes as necessary to the land leases and adopt the language to the T hangers as much as feasible, understanding that they're different vehicles.
And those are two different documents, right?
Right. They have to be because one's a lease, one's a lease for hangar space and the other one's a lease for land.
Okay, and I'm not saying that to pick on anything, it's a question, and I'm questioning it because I thought it was supposed to be documented and showed to everybody to look at for improvement.
Yeah, that's the one that we're gonna have to
Okay,
argue on.
that's my question.
And we do have that down on the agenda here.
Okay.
Okay, any other public comment? Update on 6 new hangar projects. There was a meeting that I attended, and what it come out to was they were setting their goals for doing the new T hangar project. And excavation was set to start on 10/13 to 11/6 for that project. And then they were gonna go down to, they were looking at a completion date. I'll save you all the intermediate things, but the completion date was 8/21/25. There was a delay because they had to order the building, because it's like a building kit that they put together, and all the steel has to be cut, delivered to site, and stuff like that. So there was a 90-day waiting period from the time that they asked for the building, put the money up for the building, to when the building would be delivered. So the building wouldn't be delivered till sometime in March. Or maybe early April at this point, because, I don't know, maybe it was more than 90 day on lead time on it. But anyway, that was the date that they had given us, was late March, early April for the building. Now, we run into a little bit of a difficulty here, and let me see if I can pull this off, because I want to make you all aware of it. I have made the Airport Commission aware of it, but we got this, I got this note yesterday, and this is from Mr. Herbert, who is the engineer on the project. Okay. After a number of phone and email correspondence with village staff and MSA zoning administration the last couple of business days, it extremely unfortunately appears that the village will require a conditional use permit be granted before the hangar building permit can be issued. I had thought this issue was taken care of about 1.5 years ago by representatives of the Airport Commission, but it was never fully resolved. Despite being discussed by the Plan Commission 2 separate times, a conditional use permit was not issued neither for the airport as it exists today, the airport as it exists plus our new hangar, nor the airport ultimate build-out plan as shown on the ALP pen and ink. Frankly, it's shocking to me that no conditional use permit at all was issued, essentially leaving the airport as an unpermitted existing use within the public institutional district. The master plan, the Plan Commission desired, was available in pen and ink drawing. I'll be submitting the conditional use permit application, including all supporting documentation, and paying the fee tomorrow. I'm not sure when the Plan Commission meeting will be, but we're likely looking at up to 45 days of delay.
Whoa.
So that was kind of a new wrinkle that was thrown in there that, quite frankly, I think surprised everybody.
Well, I'm gonna interject something on that. I had talked to Lori at the clerk's office uptown today. She said that, well, Dave Hefkin and our town's attorney were there, they both knew it, they both walked out of there, at whatever the public meeting that was, knew they had to get it, never got it
When was that?
done. I don't know, before I think we were on the board, town board, or commission.
Well, what I find absolutely amazing about this whole thing is that the village of Palmyra annexed an airport and doesn't have the statutes set up for an airport. So now, the next question I have, and these are all questions, because like I say, this just came to my attention yesterday. Okay, so now every time somebody wants to build a hangar out here, do they have to apply for a conditional use permit? Because that's a $200 fee up front, and then there's no guarantee they're gonna give you the permit.
But wouldn't they give the overall permit for the airport? Why would every time you did something, you'd have to get another conditional use
Well,
permit?
that's what I'm wondering, if
Wouldn't-
that's even a
It
possibility.
would just be one conditional use permit for the entire operation, I would
I
think.
would think so, but I have to research it, I don't know at this point.
And that goes through the zoning commission?
Yes. And MSA is the one that does the zoning for the village of Palmyra. And I think they turned all that zoning over, and I don't think, from what I've seen, that MSA had a permittable use for an airport in their information.
Yeah.
So they listed it as something else, and now every time you do something, you have to permit it. But to your question, I don't know if we can get one conditional use permit for operation or not, okay? To cover all the ins and outs.
Should you be getting?
And so that's kind of the update on that. And I'm going to move to number 2, because update on obtaining variant zoning changes to airport farmland. We had talked about that. And we had John here, and he was explaining that situation when we were over at the last meeting. And when we left, John made the comment to me, you know, sometimes it's just better off left alone. Don't say anything. Because it had been farmed before. It always has been. So, you know, weighing in that, did we want to kick the cat, you know, so to speak? So now, it looks like we've got a situation here where we're gonna have to dig into it, and I, quite frankly, I'm kind of glad I didn't go ahead, because if there's more things like you had brought up that need to be encompassed in this, you know, maybe we can get the whole thing wrapped up in one package for a couple $100, you know? And so that's kind of where that's at.
I can see where the lawyer would say that about leaving it alone until something comes up, but is the cost for leaving it alone going to be less than if something comes up and we haven't addressed it?
Well, they would ask us to apply.
Okay,
Okay. 'Cause I think, because there's no real recourse on it.
okay.
Okay, because we're not, you know, if you were building a building or something like that, it would be an issue, because they could say, okay, tear the building down. You know, but if you're baling hay,
Okay.
you know, it's kind of a different deal. But now we're gonna have to take a look at including the farming. And we're gonna have to make a list of all these things that we need to do to operate this airport. And then go, and I wanna talk to Brandon, the gentleman that wrote this letter, and find out just exactly, are you applying just for that? Or are you applying for a blanket, you know, and can we jump on that blanket then to include other things that are necessary to the operation of this airport?
Otherwise, you're gonna start $200 this.
Yeah, and how many times do we wanna go through that? If we, like you said, and rightfully so, we do it once, that'd be great, you know? So,
Al, do you know, how is this zoned and what was it zoned when they annexed it?
I don't have that right in front of me.
Is that public institutional, or what is it?
Yeah, I think, I see.
now it is, I think, but for a while it was in rural holding.
Yeah,
Prior to rural holding, I thought it was Ag One.
What is it now with the
Public-
village?
Public institution.
Okay.
I think that's. the phrase.
Yeah, well,
I
I
think
think
you're
you're
right.
right.
Wasn't that what the board was, the town board was just doing and fighting with the village about zoning?
Yeah, so it's
About
all
a year ago?
zoned public institution.
Right, but why wouldn't something of this nature come up during all of that discussion with the village? Sounds like they just started nickel and diming and finding new avenues.
I just said that.
Right?
You said $200.
Maybe it'll be 2,000 crack.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I went to the village about 6 months ago and I introduced myself as airport manager and I kind of made the scenario of, I want to build a hangar at the airport. What do I need to do? And they walked through the steps of that, and I mean, none of it was mentioned a conditional use permit. So that, I mean, I thought I was, trying to get all the information to make sure that we were ready to go, and they never brought that up at that point. And so if that was missing, these things, they would have mentioned it and said, well, you need a conditional use permit first, but that was not mentioned.
and that conversation took place with the building inspector and the clerk.
Building inspector and the clerk, yes.
Yeah. So the fact that we didn't know that should come as no surprise when the people in charge of issuing the permits didn't know that.
Is it a way of them delaying this project?
The delay, what I've heard, what Al said, the delay came from not
Ordering
getting
the
that
building.
conditional use permit about a year
Yeah,
and
I
a
think,
half ago.
I think they're gonna have a problem not issuing it, because I think the state, because of what they got invested in it, would probably come down pretty heavy on them. So, but it's gonna be a delay until they have their meeting, whenever they decide to do that. Now, they might decide to call a meeting next week, but statutorily, they have 45 days. So I think that's what the remark about the 45 days was.
Yeah, it really causes a problem in the construction of the building, because we had planned on doing the concrete, letting that cure up when the building came, construct the building on it. Now, everything is being pushed off.
Would it make sense for the airport
I'm staying
commission
here until 5
to
p.m.
call,
Oh,
ask the zoning committee for a special meeting, an informational meeting to find out what has to happen and have it sooner?
I'm sorry, I missed it.
I said, would it make sense for the airport commission to ask the zoning committee for a special meeting, an informational meeting, to find out what needs to happen if there is an issue or not? And prior to their regularly scheduled meeting. And then if they have to make a decision at their regularly scheduled meeting, it's in place.
To find out who's on the zoning committee. or
That'd be a
who's
good
the head of
idea.
it, and see what the procedure might be for us to talk about. I'm gonna make a note here.
Who was there when, with the airport manager? Who did you see when you were there? Who were the people? Laurie and who?
Lori and,
Wasn't that the zoning guy?
No, I think that was a building
the
inspector.
building inspector, I don't recall.
Marks, is it? No.
John, I can probably have a chat with him. I think he's in, let's see, tomorrow, yeah, I think he's in the office Thursday for a couple of hours. So I'll see if I can flip what I'm doing around to get over there and have a chat with him, and maybe he can give me a little guidance on what the procedure is, anyway. In fact, I'm gonna put that in my brain so I don't get wound up doing something else. Forget about it. I don't know if this was a situation because it was, because of the scope of the project, or, you know, whether it was something, and that's what I wanna find out.
So does this put a stop to the start date? I mean, you can't do anything until you get this permit.
Right, that's correct. That is correct.
So that could set, depending on the
Yeah, it could-
contractor.
It could set things back, yes.
And then, is there a different contractor, or, you know, originally, throughout the last few months or whatever, you know, they were gonna build, and then the original builder backed out or something?
No, he come back on board.
Okay, so this
Yeah.
is the,
So it's the same guy,
Okay.
Gilbrath,
Gilbank.
or Gilbank, and, so it's the same,
okay.
same company that's doing it. It's who we had to schedule.
Are they aware? Well, I don't know if you know.
Oh,
if
yeah,
they're aware of
because
it.
he's the guy that went to apply for the permit.
Oh.
So, yeah, he's well aware of it, so he did some shuffling in his schedule, and I don't know what that's gonna do to us.
Right, right.
Okay, at this point.
How involved is the BOA in this?
They're running the show. We've really got nothing to do with it.
Well, they should have some muscle too.
Pardon me?
They should have some muscle.
Well, I would think so. You know, but once, you know, I've said this before, once this contract, you know, when it went to them, the BOA, they took it over. It's got,
Yeah.
you know, it's out our hands at that point. They run it.
Let them get the permit.
Well, it's a good point. They should have enough muscle to come and say, hey, what's going on here? We got a whole friggin' airport. All we want to do is add a couple of items, and you're stonewalling us. I would think they'd have some interest in doing that.
Yeah, I would imagine if it comes to that, there's gonna be some heads rolling. I don't know what they're.
I'm just thinking out loud.
Yeah. Okay. Lou, you got update on hangar building lots here, I guess that we kind of discussed that at this point.
We'll call that one done.
Okay. Update on airport signage and ordinance enforcement.
I'll talk about that if you
Pardon me?
want me to go through all that
Go ahead.
with the signs. Okay,
Yeah,
so,
signs are up.
signs are up, if you haven't noticed, there's a 10-mile-an-hour speed limit sign out here, with flags on it, that nobody seems to abide by. We posted, no trespassing or hunting over here by the cemetery where you go back. There's one right here too, a new sign, there's two down on Royal Lee Drive by the Calkins fence line. And one up further. I got two more home that the town bought 6 months ago that Danny Olson and I are gonna put once they take the corn down on that side of the airport. We gotta wait for the corn to get down, leave back there. There's a little bit of, you talk about enforcement. Well, no trespassing, you don't belong, you know, here, that's, you shouldn't be here, but, right now I'd call that 10-mile-an-hour sign an advisory sign. Because there's some question on that roadway. You have Google Maps show Airport Road, this is called, running all the way to the dead end, round back, Helen Dunsh's old place, right to the end. they call it Airport Road. Now, that would be a public roadway. But in the old days, some of us in the room here, I thought the actual road, public roadway, basically ended right about the PFC, or, you know, the Flying Club. But that's not the way it is on Google Maps, and I talked to Tyson, the sign man. He thinks it's a roadway all the way back to the end there. Now, having said that, if you go through some old minutes in the book, if I'm not mistaken, the Jefferson County Highway Department paved that road all the way to the back.
But I think you'll find that the airport paid for that pavement.
Well, that could certainly
Yeah, I
could be.
don't, that was,
You know, the old days.
going back 100 years ago, when I started flying out here, that was an aircraft taxiway. And it was used as an entrance to the airport for vehicles, but in the wintertime, where you couldn't taxi right out to the runway, what they did is they plowed that area, and you would come out of your hangar, taxi up to here, about where this building is, and then out, because they didn't want to dig up all the grass.
Right.
So that's what they used in the wintertime as an airport taxiway. So I don't think it was ever platted as a road, regardless of what the hell Google thinks of it. You know, I don't think they're the ones that make it public or private or whatever. But
Well, just to let you know, there's an empty pole with no sign on it down here, that will have Airport Road on it when it comes.
okay, make it
Well,
long
it
enough.
did, it always did have that, remember that, years ago,
Yeah.
suddenly it's gone.
Okay, well, thank you, Frank, for taking care of that.
So Frank, one other, there's a DOT sign saying this is,
No authorized.
no unauthorized, or authorized traffic only or something like that. So that sign is pretty close to that road, and people bring their airplanes up. We have a wash station. The PFC has a wash station for, if you wanna wash your airplane off, you bring your hose, and now people cannot get around there because that sign is in the way,
So
or
you're
that
telling me you
post.
want me to get Tyson to come out and move the sign, you'll have to tell me all about it. Not to, you know, I don't mean that derogatory, I mean, you're gonna have to show me what you're talking about. But we wanted it there so people actually can see it, they had to see the sign.
Right, but it's, yeah, it's in the way for airplane wings now, so.
Geez, I never saw anybody actually operate personally that I can think of lately that operate an airplane on that road.
Well, it didn't used to, but now that they dug the moat out there by the Flying Club,
Here we go.
Let's move on.
okay, Jeff, update and take action on Pappy lighting system. Did you come up with contractors to
Yeah,
pour some
so,
cement?
yeah, so I've got a price of about $1,200 to put in the concrete for mounting those. So they'll be putting in two 24-inch sonotubes, one for each Pappy light. And then it's a matter of getting a work crew to do the rest. So I guess if we can create a motion to approve $1,200 worth of concrete work.
I'll make a motion that we spend up to $1,300 on this concrete work to get it done with, to finish the project.
And that's concrete for both lights, son?
Correct.
Okay. I'll make a motion, or I'll second that motion.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. All in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. Okay, John, do you have?
Oh, master plan, here we go.
You have any update on
These
that?
are sketchy notes because I got on the phone today. I've been working with those guys for months.
Okay,
And I had to go all the way to the guy's supervisor to get him to work on it. I've got an email version also, it's in my phone, I didn't get a chance to, I'm gonna send it to you and let you just read it to the other guys here. But in general, I was on the road when I was doing this. Phase one is gonna be an aerial survey, and that's roughly $100,000. These are all rough numbers because it's hard to pin them down for a solid
Right.
number. and that won't happen until spring of 2025 when there's leaves on the trees. The phase two is 250,000 for the master plan part of it, and that won't occur until fall of 2025. That's when they actually start. They could be, won't be done by then, but that's when it'll start. And then phase three is about 70,000, and that goes into our airport layout plan, which we become involved in that, because that's us getting together and saying, well, we want this, we want that, we don't want that, that kind of stuff. And it has to meet FAA standards. They'll double check us at that time to make sure we're FAA standards. And that will probably occur around 2026 in the fall. So,
So you're 2 years, 2 years
it
out.
takes a couple of years, yeah.
If
It
we
takes a couple of
started
years.
right today, it'd be 2 years out.
Right. And I asked Sam, what do we need to do to get you guys to actually start working on this thing? And he said a written document to the BOA. So we probably should do a vote on it and make a motion to go through and do it. And then you're the chairman, you probably should send him a letter saying, yeah, we voted on it, we want to go ahead with it.